Whether they're trying to hold you back for a reason, maybe that's the case. But my 2 daughters are 3.5. I'm scared. Who are they going to look up to?
Yeah.
I think
Who?
it's all about pride, right? Vulnerable or not. You have so many women in Palestine who are so poor, but you know, they would never do the things that girls do here. It's all about having pride and dignity. It's really about that. You know what I mean? It's a character thing, I think. But I do agree that
I think it's a culture thing more, because that same woman, if she grew up in a different country, whether it's like Morocco or something, they do turn to that quite easily with the same religious backgrounds, because it's a cultural influence. I think we're overestimating the individual and underestimating environment, because even since I've been in Dubai, I don't know if I should say, but I have noticed that there'll be girls that are well educated, good jobs and so on and so forth, and they'll be doing everything themselves, but then you'll get a girl from a certain different types of background with no job, no nothing, and a guy is paying for her rent in the address. What makes sense to a woman who's just trying to make it? And so if men withdraw their investment from these types of women, there'll be more motivation. So it needs to be a two-way thing.
But that's never gonna happen, you know. Like I agree with you, but that's never gonna happen. Let's face it,
if
you
it's
know,
not
and
gonna happen,
it's
then
on
women
us.
aren't going to change.
No, I'm sorry, I
But
disagree.
have women
because we have
through
to.
history until it's only been recent.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Recently, this spike of being a housewife, being a wife, doing this. Your control. It's domestic abuse. You're locked up. It's like this agenda. You shouldn't be that. And I've noticed it's in the last 6 or 7 years really drastically. This feminism's. I'm for feminism, like, as in women work, women being strong, women having a say, but to a limit as well, as mentioned. But there's this new movement, this woke feminism. We don't need men, this, that. It's just gone sick, woke, and then it's like...
It's drifting towards LGBT.
No, but it is drifting to this LGBT stance. And also, I noticed it a lot more during this World Cup announcement. The West's stance on what they think Arabs are, the Middle East, and it was highlighted in a crazy way.
Well, it's just psychological colonialism. They think that the world should think the way they think. It's no different to racism. They simply have a set of morals, and if you don't abide by them, you're barbaric and you're not progressive. And they are happy to cancel out entire continents. The whole of Africa is barbaric, the whole of Asia is barbaric. Why? Because you decide the moral. And that's just horrendous. I was so insulted by the reaction to Qatar and the LGBT. I was so deeply insulted, and I couldn't understand how unbelievably racist it was. The idea that white people determine what is progressive, and if they're not on Sparta's side, we are just barbaric. Anyone that agrees with that stance is just a racist. There's no two ways about it. Do we have a guest?
I'm not sure you can open. My point back into that is I think we've got a guest was going live. So let's have your opinions on this man. Andrew Lubna.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. Sorry, I got overexcited, didn't I? You caught me all excited. Hi.
Now you can go into this conversation more now. So
okay,
I didn't want to tell them this is purely unplanned.
Yeah, we were actually
They don't
supposed to
know
meet
this.
today, but we couldn't get it all sorted. But we made it in the end. Praise be to God, we got it.
That's
in the end.
right.
We got it.
Fate.
As you walked in, we were just discussing how women tend to become OnlyFans. They push this agenda rather than the mother, the wife, the nice housewife, or a woman to become an engineer. Lubna was saying, I believe truly it's women's fault. They blame men, but women are giving them in. They're making it easy on them.
Can I say something? I really have a message to all the young girls out there. Okay, it's not about, let's not do the blame game, because it's not going to do anything for anyone. It's you've got the power. Okay, this is your life. You've got the power. My mother always told me that. The man is the head and the woman is the neck. You can be smart, you can be educated. Don't waste your time. Don't take away your power by just going on Instagram, being an influencer, not doing anything with your life. And don't play the victim. Be nobody's victim. You know what I mean? That's That's my thought.
And
But-
I was a bit more. It's also the men's fault because they invest in these.
It's always the men's fault,
no,
isn't it?
No, wallah. I would say.
Wallah.
Wallah.
Doesn't mean it's the all truth, yeah.
It's a societal issue. If I'm a girl and if I'm a vulnerable 15-year-old girl with no money and I can either go to school and get a long education, or there's a guy that's going to pay for my flights and my rent, if I just post a thirst trap, you're speaking to vulnerable people, not just educated people in society.
Yes, but you have a choice. Do you die screaming like a little girl, or do you die with dignity?
Can I just intercept with one thing?
Some people are in survival
You made a
mode.
good point about 5 minutes back. You did say you go to like Jordan, Israel, Afghanistan, or India, or some villages. The women are poor. They have nothing. Maybe no fathers have been killed. They have nothing. Yet you don't see them act that way.
But they have a different form of what.
You know, that's a
they have a
like.
different form of that. They marry, even if a guy's 20 years older than him, they'll marry into him when she's 15 years old because they're in survival mode. So I think what we're neglecting is if men stop investing in these girls, these OnlyFans girls, and start investing in the good girls, there's more motivation to be good. But if I was a 14-year-old in this day and age, I'd be like, I'm just going to work out and get a BBL and get a shortcut.
It's valid. It's a good point.
Thank you.
Society's degenerate. It's not men and women. Society's degenerate. It depends on what part of the world, of course, as well. But especially in the Western world, there are such benefits for degeneracy, and there's no stigma against it. There's none of the stigma. Even the things you're discussing and talking about, I agree with you completely. But a lot of these girls don't feel any shame. They don't feel any ounce of shame.
And it's a job. It's no different to a job. We've normalized it to the point where it just feels like a job for these women. And I think that when I was saying to them when I was younger and before, if you were known as, in my culture, Pakistani, you grew up in Luton, so if I even walked into a restaurant with a boy, it would be like, oh my God, she's such a slag. Like straight away, I'd get a label and I wouldn't be able to get married. But now these girls are getting married to rappers. They're having kids with rappers. A stripper is getting married. So what motivation is left for young women when men are dropping their standards in terms of promiscuity? They don't mind a promiscuous woman anymore.
I don't think men are ever going to stop wanting to see bikini pictures. You know what I mean? It's not going to change. That's why I'm saying it's up to us. Like I'm saying, we really need to make the effort because we are the mothers. You know what I mean? I just feel like we're taking away from our power. And I agree with you in what you're saying because yes, a lot of girls don't have opportunities, X and Y. That's why I think it's all about education. You find a lot of wrong things going on in society, mostly in the poorer areas as well. So it is really all about education, I think.
Yeah, but I do think that's a privilege.
I think the term is like Andrew's mentioned before on podcast, godless. Godless society.
There's a huge split. What we're discussing here is not universal across the planet, right? The things we're discussing here and the idea of women, like you're saying, having a reputation and promiscuity being frowned upon, all those things make perfect sense here. The idea of a woman sticking to education and not getting a bad reputation and working hard, that makes sense here. But in Miami, it's godless. It's a godless city.
If I don't believe in God, praise be to God, I do. But if I didn't have the idea that God's watching me, what motivation as a young girl with a great body and great looks would I have to go the long route to getting success when there's a man willing to pay me 2-3 grand just for a feet pick?
Well, I think
so why don't we address the men in not being?
But are we all going to be sheep? Like for example, and a lot of people say he has money, he has it all. Why would you become Muslim when you have everything? Why would he want to limit himself in a way? So surely God's given us brains or ways to think. What is life about? What's the purpose?
It's not just God watching, but it's not just as God watching. I'm gonna go to hell. You know what I mean? I think it goes beyond that. I mean, you still have a brain. God created you with a brain. You should still have principles without that. But I think even when it comes to education is a privilege. But nowadays the real influence is on social media. And any kid in Gaza, there's an amazing rapper in Gaza. God bless him. Like he's on social media. He's an influencer. You know what I mean? Even if a kid in Gaza has access to social media, then we can have influence. That's why we need more women role models.
Yeah, definitely need that.
And then the influencers will also become less and less because girls will see, well, you know what? I do have another chance. I do have another option.
Yeah.
But I think the broader question is, I'd like to ask you two very intelligent ladies, why do you think society is trying to program women to act this way? Because I believe society is trying to, especially in the West, it's trying very hard. We're talking about the advantages of a girl doing OnlyFans, for example. Yes, her life can improve. But the broader question is, why is all the culture, all of society, the matrix as a whole, trying to destroy the baseline morality of humans, men and women? Because they're trying to convince men not to be men, everything that was traditionally masculine.